any second now. All right, notifications. I hope they pop up. All right, so Facebook should be live now, right?
Yes, it is.
Awesome sauce. And Julie, let me know about YouTube. You're good? Okay, cool. All right, Julie.
YouTube's up.
All right, Julie, give me one quick audio check. You should be okay, but just
mic check 1 2 1 2. Mic check.
All right, you're okay. All right, let's get this party started. Molly, don't meow. Stop it.
When you play the Game of Thrones, you win or you die.
Warning, this podcast contains explicit language and spoilers. This is Behind the Iron Throne, your unofficial Game of Thrones podcast.
Here. All right, let me get Trent. I'm going to open this up and get you in here. So go ahead and grab your spot, and I'm going to lock you up.
Trent, oh my god!
Can't
hear you, honey.
Nothing at all. Yeah. Well, while you're working on that, we are live and we're running. We got to run. We only have 2 hour time cap, so. She'll get that fixed, and she'll let me know. Just give me a second here. Okay, so we are live. Thanks to all the live viewers. We'll get to you guys in just a second. All right, let's get this part started right here. I got to find a better way to do live. Right, here we go. In 3, 2, 1. Well, hello. Welcome back to Behind the Iron Throne. We're recording this episode on April 29th, and the reason why I haven't given you an episode number just yet is because I've had some technical difficulties. I recorded an episode at Ice and FireCon, which my team and I just got back from, and that's going to be episode 209, and that was a meetup that we did at the convention. So I have that as a podcast, and I apologize for the audio in that. We were, kind of using whatever we could get to work to pull in the audio. But we tried to get some kind of show for you from the con in that regard. Secondly, I apologize for not going live more often at Ice and FireCon 2019. The internet was really, really bad there. So again, sorry about that. We tried our very best to get as much content out of there as we could. I mean, the internet is complete trash. Next thing I want to say is the episode that we did that I recorded. Well, we watched we watched season 8, episode 3 last night, and we did a podcast right after in the lobby. However, the file that I recorded is gone out of my laptop that I took with me to Ice and FireCon, and I'm actually trying to recover it using a recovery disk. If I get it back, I'm going to upload that episode before this one. So it would be 9, 10, and this would be 11. I don't know if that's going to work out. If it doesn't, I want to apologize to Nami because she popped on the podcast. She's an awesome cosplayer. We met at Ice and FireCon. I want to apologize to I'm having a brain fart from Tara from Ice and FireCon. And we had Lady Gwen from Radio West. It's Radio Westeros, right, John? From Lady Gwen, who was awesome. Yes. My first time meeting her and the crew from Radio Westeros. So I apologize to you guys, and we're going to have them on the podcast as guests either way. But I really wanted you guys to hear this reaction because I was actually in the lobby, and you could hear people screaming because how amazing this particular episode was. And even the book people, because Ice and FireCon is very heavily book-driven. Even the people there that were book-driven were screaming, and watching it live was amazing. Now, let me introduce my co-host here. And if you haven't watched season 8, episode 3, The Long Night, stop listening right now. If you're listening live, turn it the hell off. I don't want you to be spoiled. And I know that, sometimes Facebook posts come up and shit happens. I'm sorry about that. We can't control all the posts on the page right now. So if you got spoiled, I'm so sorry. But if you're listening now and you haven't watched it, just get out. If you ever want to watch us live, we do the live on facebook.com/Behind the Iron Throne. Like the page. Also like our group Beat It. We're also on BehindTheIronThrone.tv. We're also at GetVocal, GetVokl.com, and you'll see us right there, or you can search for Behind the Iron Throne. So let me get my co-host in here, because you're going to miss a lot of good stories if we don't get him in here. My sister Julie, welcome to the show, kid.
What's up, everybody? Let's go.
I want to get in this as quick as possible, but I got to get these announcements in. Jonathan Stoma Starklever.
What's up, everyone? I'm back. Man, watching Game of Thrones with a crowd is the best way to watch Game of Thrones, period. I will challenge anyone to that, especially at an Ice and Fire Con. It was amazing. I was sitting next to Chris watching
the reactions,
awesome.
Which I wanted to put in that episode that I lost. If I can get it back, I'm going to put it in there. If not, I'm going to put it in another episode so everyone can hear it and just hear on how amazing it is, which I'm going to talk about in just a second. But first, let me get the man of the hour. He's the one, the only, the Milton Marker Yardley. What's up, pal?
Hey, I'm doing good. Excited to talk about the episode.
And of course, Kelly, holla back at you. Holla, what's up, girl?
Hello, welcome back, guys. I'm excited to be here. Last night was awesome.
Not only was it awesome, but Ice and Fire Con in general was awesome. And like John mentioned, watching it there, I really want to talk more about it, but I don't want to detract from this episode. So what I'm going to do is we're going to do an episode. This is going to be an awesome week for you guys. We're going to be doing an episode tomorrow night at about 9:00 Eastern time. And I'm going to get Andrea on this episode, and we're going to break down even deeper than we're going to do tonight. And if you can't make that show, don't worry. We're going to break it down again at the end of the season. Let me see if I can get Trin in here. So tomorrow night at about 9:00 Eastern time, we're going to do another show with Andrea. And I don't know which other hosts are going to be on that episode just yet, but we'll figure it out. Andrea will give us a lot of great information.
Now?
Yeah, there's Trin.
Sorry, guys. I just literally walked in the door, had to water some plants because they were dying after 5 days of being gone, and was just throwing things around trying to find my microphone and set everything up really quick, and then had to restart.
Yeah, so if John, Trin, and myself seem a little out of it, it's because we were up partying Saturday night until 3:00 in the morning. We were up late last night. My podcast I fucking lost. I'm so pissed off about that. And John vomited all over the stage. And he cleaned it up. He put twice and he cleaned it up.
But to my credit, I watched the entire episode and I was talking about it to you guys, and I came back an hour later fully recovered.
Not bad.
Had to get rid of the poison.
So we're going to record tomorrow night at 9 with Andrea. We're going to be recording on Thursday, unless something comes up, for a audience episode. So whatever you guys want to say, we will record it and put it in the podcast. We'll read it for you and we'll get it on an episode. That's 3 episodes this week. So if anyone says that BTIT doesn't care about the community, they're lying to you, because that's what we care about. All right, so let's get into this stuff. Elizabeth, welcome in the chat. Anyone else in the chats? Julie, how about in your YouTube? I don't hear a word Julie is saying. Kelly Hollow.
Sorry about that.
There you go.
We got all kinds of people in YouTube. We got Big E, we got Ricky, we got Ashley, we got James, we got Kayleen, Sheena, James, Oscar. We got all kinds of people up in YouTube.
Awesome. Our hosts, we're going to be as quick and to the point as we can tonight, so we can try to get some of your comments in, but don't feel bad. Like I said, if we can't get you in tonight, Thursday night, we're doing it live again. And of course, tomorrow night. Kelly, anybody you want to give a shout out to in the Facebook chat?
Oh, Jesus. Facebook is hopping. We have Anthony, Cameron, Liz, Joelle, Danielle, Dodie, Andrea, Trent, John. Tons of people.
Awesome.
And they're all excited.
Also, I want to thank Andrea for doing a live show for us yesterday, right after the episode, because we could not do one live at the Ice and Fire Con. Again, we had bad internet. I'm so sorry. All right, so let's get started. And Yardley did these awesome show notes for us, so we're going to go right from your show notes, Yardley. Let's talk about the survivors. If you want to lead off with the survivors, and we'll go from there, because, wow, holy shit.
Yeah, Well, as far as the survivors are concerned, if they were of note, they all survived, which was, overall, I thought that the episode was solid, but I am really disappointed that, most of the characters that we were really interested in survived. We discussed this on the previous show, Chris, about how, you sell this threat for so long. We really do expect to really get hit in the gut when it counts. So apparently we live in a world where Podrick is alive and Jorah is dead. But for the most part, the episode worked for me, but that really did bother me.
I'll tell you, I'm just going to say that, and I've talked to a lot of people, we all did at Ice and FireCon, and we all agree that, like, the very beginning of this episode, talk about living and dying, you had the Dothraki that got wiped out right in the beginning, like
if they were nothing, as if they were nothing.
Yeah. So they didn't survive.
That was crazy to me.
A casualty of production.
If I jump around a little bit, I'm really sorry, but I'm really, really tired, and I'm trying to stay on point as much as possible. But this episode had me up and down and left and right and all over the place. Has to be one of the best episodes of Game of Thrones I've ever seen. I was literally in anticipation. I think everyone can agree that that beginning was total anticipation. And it's like, oh my God, what's happening? Here comes the rider. Boom. Melisandre and the crowd. You guys have no idea. If you don't listen to the podcast, or if you don't watch the show with other people, you're missing out, because we were with 100 plus people,
dude.
And that scream.
That was insane.
Cheering.
We all cheered when Chris, you were there. When she lit all of the swords, everyone in the convention room was like cheering, like, yeah, we're all cheering. I was loving it. I love that's my
much hope.
I love that
right
scene.
Trin, did you feel that sense of hope right there in the beginning?
Yeah, I was kind of like
Melisandre
predicting it as it was happening. I think I was leaning over to you and I was like, Melisandre's coming. And then she showed up, and then I was like, she's going to light their swords on fire, the arcs on fire. And they did. And I was like, woo. And then from that moment on, like, everything else disappointed me.
Okay, first of all, seeing the rider, I'm thinking, oh my God, that's a scout. Oh crap, that's a scout. And then all of a sudden, like, the hood comes down and it's Melisandre, and I'm like, I turned to Mom and I'm like, holy shit. And then I'm like, where the fuck are the Red Priestess? Where the hell is the army? But other than that, that moment was fucking, like, to start off the show like that, and then the lighting of the Dothraki's like sickles or whatever the hell they were, I was like, yo, let's go. And then all of a sudden it was, oh shit, they're all gone. Like, now what? We're fucked. That's all I kept thinking about.
Kelly?
Yeah, it's I had that hopeful cheering feeling when all the weapons were lit up and they pulled back and you just saw this wave of fire just cascade down through the men, and that joy lasted maybe 10 minutes, and I spent the entire episode completely just certain they were all fucked.
Right?
Edge of your seat the whole time.
When you were, did you have the same feels that I did? Like, as soon as that anticipation, and were you like kind of happy seeing Melisandre show up?
Yeah, I always like Melisandre as a character. I'm not gonna say that when she lit their weapons on fire that I felt hopeful. I was like, they're still, I just knew. I mean, you couldn't even, when everything is dark, you know what I mean?
Literally and figuratively dark.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that the Night King's army is really huge. So I was like, it looks kind of cool, but I just don't see why you would ride head first, with your flaming swords into the darkness. But I felt like this episode, you weren't supposed to feel really hopeful, probably beyond that point. It was supposed to be a hopeless type scenario, but it was definitely dope to see. And I really did like Melisandre's role in this episode.
It made you, like, they wanted you to realize just how against the odds, the good guys were, and just wiping out the entire Dothraki horde at the beginning just solidified that, like, holy shit, and it just went
Elizabeth
just crazy
saying that
from
was
there.
freaking crazy, like the snuffing out of a candle, and that was crazy. And it's amazing that Ghost. We got to see Ghost, and that was awesome. Ghost is running towards the dead, and then Ghost
Yeah.
doesn't
We
come
don't
back,
see him ever again.
Yeah. But Jorah makes it back.
He's still alive.
And what
though.
proof do you have?
Ghost is still alive. He's in the
Okay.
trailer, I
He's
think.
the next
He's in the trailer.
But
Yep.
how did
He's
Ghost
in the trailer.
survive that? What was it? Which one of the direwolves died in that tree? Which one was it?
I think it was.
Well, the
Wasn't
one
it?
that got
It was
jumped in the
Sansa's,
tree.
wasn't it? Summer.
Wait,
Yeah.
died with door?
No, Sansa's.
Nymeria is
Yeah.
still alive.
Yeah.
Nymeria is. Yeah.
Well, Shaggy Dog. That was the one.
No, Shaggy
I
Dog
think-
got his head cut off when they brought Rickon and Osha back.
Well, the only thing that I was just saying is I don't see how Ghost survived that when there was way less, and that direwolf had gotten torn up in that tree. But bravo, the runt is like the second to the last one standing.
Yeah, and I'm sorry, Yardley, if I jump around in the show notes.
Shout out really quick to Justin in the chat.
do it.
He's part of the J
Justin.
Crew.
J Crew. J Crew.
The J. You got to explain what the J Crew is now.
Yeah. I'm lost.
John
Okay,
Jacob Jingleheimer
So the
Schmidt.
J Crew is
It's actually, yeah.
Justin was our roommate.
Yeah.
Right?
and Jacob, Trin's husband, who is the best guy.
They have a
ever.
bromance.
He's my boy. We had a
I thought
bromance.
they were going to start making
We have a
out.
bromance. I love him to death. I love him to death. I gotta hook up with him on Facebook. I loved from very beginning. I loved him. I don't want to go off.
Anyway,
I'm going
J
off
Crew
topic,
is
but
Justin,
he's my
John,
boy
and
now.
Jacob.
Awesome. We're gonna have to do a whole episode on just what we did at Ice and FireCon.
Yeah.
Especially me because I lost some of the lost files. Anything in the chat, Julie, on your side?
We
first?
just got a lot of people. We got a lot of people talking about Melisandre. Kayleen says Melisandre showed up with a confidence we haven't seen since Stannis died. Big E says the Night King used the biggest fire extinguisher ever. Big E
funny.
also says Ghost is alive. Ricky, who is a longtime listener and the first time checking us out, so we'll give a mad shout out to Ricky. He says, yeah, I was really expecting the Dothraki to be resurrected and having them be the first wave to attack the living. So there's a lot of stuff about like Melisandre, some Ghost. Bear Island is for sale, James says. So we got some hype up in the chat.
Melisandre had one of my favorite lines of this episode. No, not that.
I know what it is.
And
We're
Chris
not
knows
there
this
yet.
because I went. She goes.
Okay, go ahead.
What?
Go ahead, John. Just
might
go
as
with
well. Sorry. What do we say to the god of death? Oh,
That's when he puked.
I love it.
Anything, Kelly? Anything on Facebook?
Shocking.
Oh, was it really?
A lot of people are talking about Samantha and Joel both say that a lot more people survived than they expected, which I'd have to agree with. I was very shocked that we did not lose more.
Mm-hmm.
Matt, well, easy to bring that up. Let's
Okay.
go right into the notes here of the survivors. Jon Snow, Dany, and Ghost. Okay. Jaime Lannister, Brienne of Tarth, and Pod. And I thought one of them was dying.
I
for
certainly
sure.
thought one of them was going
Right?
to die.
Arya Stark, or should I say Arya Ahai, Gendry, the Hound. And I thought one of those.
I
they
seriously
were
thought the
gonna die.
Hound was going.
Nah.
Wheel Creeper fucking lived.
I know that upsets you.
I'm not
I know
happy with
that. I know that eats at your innards. Okay, I get that. But that whole scene was fucking awesome. Let's just throw
we're
that
gonna get-
out
we're
there.
gonna-
Okay.
We're gonna get on that. Wait a minute.
Can I
Go ahead.
say something here about the why
Well, I
everyone
was gonna finish
survived?
the list.
Because it's what you were. What
We finished the list. and
Okay,
then you
finish
can
the
do
list, and
Then
I'll
you're
say what I
next.
have to
Okay, I
say.
promise you. Sansa Stark, Tyrion Lannister, Davos Seaworth, Shireen 2.0, Samuel Tarly, Gilly, Tormund Giantsbane,
Yeah.
Grey Worm, and Melisandre, Drogon, and Rhaegal. So go ahead, John, and say what you wanted to say, buddy.
So everyone's wondering, like, the reason I think they all lived is because it's what you wasn't expecting. We all talked about it. We all give a list of who's dying, who's not. You know, Game of Thrones, the best thing they do is they give you the deaths you never see coming, like the Red Wedding and all that stuff. So it's same thing with why killing the Night King in episode 3 instead of episode 6, like we all thought. You know, what do we all predict? Oh, they're going to lose. They have to leave Winterfell. They have to go south. We all made that predictions many times on this show, and everyone said it. So naturally, the writer is not just going to go with it. They're going to give you something you never expected, which is most of everyone living. And I think that's why they all live.
Big Bad Brad and Get Vocal. Badges, yay. Stefan, yay. Elizabeth, yay. And Lokish, I believe is how you say it. Awesome. Welcome.
Chris, I want to give a shout out. We got another Ricky in chat in YouTube coming to us from London. From London,
Nice.
England. So welcome, Ricky,
Hello,
from
hello.
London. Hello.
Hello. Okay.
Hey, Chris, we
yeah.
got Samantha on Facebook saying, gotta know who's worse, Bran the Wheel Creeper or Jojen the Dreams Creeper?
Oh, see, you listen to the podcast. I'm proud of you. No, I don't like
Why do
either
you
of them.
gotta feed him, please?
Wheel Creeper. We were actually playing a
There
drinking
you
game.
go, Samantha, Wheel Creeper.
We were
Oh yeah,
actually
we were
playing
playing a drinking game.
Remember that?
Fun. And every time Bran, like whenever they showed him just staring, you had to drink. It's a great game now.
No wonder why John got drunk.
That's
and he
why I
can't
got
hold his
drunk.
liquor. Now we know.
Chris got
You drank
drunk
a whole
too.
bottle of whiskey. I did. I was drunk 2 nights in a row.
I'm not shocked by that.
You should be. I don't drink that much. Okay. I was very surprised by Jaime Lannister and Brienne of Tarth living. And one of the scenes that really got me in the feels was when, like, you think that Brienne's going down, and then Jaime's there, and you think maybe that Jaime's going down.
Yo, that
and
1
then
minute
Brienne's
when
there.
she was like being crushed, I'm like, no.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, Jamie's like, no, today. And he just starts fucking whacking people with one arm. It was badass.
Thank you, Badges. I will stick to the giant milk, the giant's milk. But yeah, I mean, seeing them those two fight back to back
That was awesome.
was
That
incredible.
was epic. I don't think Pod should have lived, though.
Oh no, Pod has to live.
Why?
Because he has to sing more
Oh,
songs.
God, no.
Yardley, how did you feel about Jaime Lannister and Brienne of Tarth?
I thought what we got was pretty cool, but you know, the pacing of the episode really didn't focus too long on any particular pairings. But I totally believe that probably all three of them should have been dead. They were totally overrun and pushed up against the wall. And just like Julie was saying, there was one scene where it kind of looked like she might have been getting stabbed. I kind of thought that it was over. But I like those characters, so I'm happy they made it. But I don't love them so much that if they would have gotten killed off, I would have thought they would have been a detriment. Because the thread just didn't match what happened to these characters. Even the crap with the Crypts, they could have cut all of that shit and it wouldn't have even mattered.
Oh, my God, that pissed me off so much. I was like, no, I can't have Jonathan Stillmoss right on this one. No.
Yeah, you know what's funny about the Crypts? When it happened, Trin turns to John. Now, keep in mind, they're both hammered. And she's leaning over me going, you see, John, you were wrong, John. The Crypts, remember how safe they were? And you were frying him, and he's sitting there staring at you like he wasn't even hearing you, like looking through you because he was so fucking drunk.
Well, I was right. That's the only. Okay, I want to redact every freaking thing I've said as far as predictions. I just, it's all got to be redacted because this is. I'm very disappointed. I'm probably the only one on the panel right now that's disappointed with this episode. Like truly, I walked away from it very upset. I was so upset. But anyway, the one thing I got right was the Crypts.
I'm not.
That was the one thing. Yeah, you did get right. I was totally convinced that was
it.
not going to happen. What'd you say, Kel?
We both called it.
Yeah, you did.
It's like, what idiots hide in the fucking crypt?
Yeah.
Well,
So where else we
going
can-
somewhere else?
Yeah, but they didn't have enough time. They didn't have enough time to get those people out.
Anywhere else. Literally anywhere else.
But they were everywhere. They were inside Winterfell. Like no
Doesn't
room
make any
was
sense
safe,
either.
man. Like they were busting down doors.
And
So please tell me
the
where
main
else but the
characters
Crypts,
apparently
man.
being
Like
outside with 100,000 whites is safe because they made it.
Yeah, right. That's a valid point. That is an absolute valid point Yardley makes. Like they all should have just been outside anyway, because everybody fucking lived anyway.
How about the when the whites finally hit the Unsullied?
Yo,
The first thing I thought was World War Z. The way they were just throwing themselves.
did anybody else look? Did it look like a tsunami wave was just rolling? It was. Let's just say one thing.
Hard to see.
HBO, listen to me. I love you. Don't get me wrong. This show is great. I love Game of Thrones. But my God, that was so fucking dark that I could barely figure out if they were actually looking at the White Walkers or not. I couldn't see them. And I didn't see them until they actually showed up at the Unsullied. And then I'm like, oh, okay, well, I guess they are in the field and they were here. I couldn't see them at all.
I think that was on purpose.
That was on purpose. That was the point.
Horror
It's dark,
/ battle.
Yeah, but I couldn't decide who were the good guys and who were the bad guys until like.
Well, I think that I'm complaining about that too.
Tough.
But
it was tough to see.
When I haven't had a chance to rewatch it because I don't know about anybody else, but Trent and I have been driving all fucking day, so we haven't had a chance to rewatch it. But riding back home, I was thinking about it, and the way they did it works, even though you can't see the character sometimes, and it's like you really had to pay attention to this episode. You couldn't take your eyes off it because you were going to miss something because it's dark and it was fast. After the initial anticipation where they're kind of dragging out that, and it's like, okay, any fucking time, let's get started. Once it did start, you had to pay attention. Or if you turned your head, you missed a character getting smothered or somebody, like when Dollar said, rescue Sam. And if you turn your head, Ed's dead.
Yo, Sam, I'm so fucking pissed at you right now. You got your brother killed, dude. You got your brother killed, and then you turned around and ran like a bitch.
So remember the sniveling? He did that the whole damn time. Like, get out of here. Even out there.
I forgive Sam.
He's not a fighter.
Sam.
I said this last time. The guy.
I mean, he got a couple of good whacks in when he was on the top,
and then he was crying in a pile of body for the rest of the damn episode.
I was like, bro, come on, just go down in the fucking crypts, dude.
Yep.
Just go to the fucking crypts.
People on his back.
He was.
Give Sam some credit, man.
So...
Give Sam.
No, you know who I give credit to? I give credit to Lyanna Mormont. She is a fucking badass. She is a fucking straight up hero. Okay,
she's a
she
badass.
went straight up to that fucking giant, and she was like, you know what? I may be small, but fuck you. I'm still gonna get you stabbed right in the fucking eye. And she took it like a champ. She's a fucking hero. Lyanna Mormont should have a statue built after her and songs sung about her because that was the most unselfish thing she could have done. She is so tiny. She's like, fuck it. Out comes this fucking little dagger, and she's like, ah! And the giant just picks her up like it's nothing, and he's crushing her. And my mom is like crying. She's like, no, not Lyanna. But she just was like, fuck you, and stabbed him right in the eye. That bitch.
I knew they were going to give her a good death.
That bitch took it for the team, and she deserves a statue. She's a fucking badass.
She's a badass.
Elizabeth says
she's always been a badass.
That giant. And Stefan said 121,600 various people have posted on Facebook the episode was too dark.
Yeah, to me, it was dark. It was horrible.
Kelly, your thoughts on Lyanna Mormont and the dragon, or I'm sorry, the giant.
She went out like a badass. She was probably my favorite death and the favorite scene in the whole movie. I mean, she got bitch slapped by the giant, came back running, and took the fucker down. I mean, all the fucking kudos in the world to her.
She's my second favorite death. She's a badass. We cheered, but I'm sorry. The first, I'm gonna say it right now. The first favorite. I mean, it's not a favorite death, but my first death and my favorite scene is Theon.
Yeah,
we'll get
pulling
to
on the
that.
heartstrings there. When Bran goes, Theon.
I just want to say that Bran had the worst fucking lines in the entire show. He said what? All of 4 fucking words or 5 words.
Well,
hey, I'm gonna go now. The fuck you mean you're going?
I'm gonna go now.
Like, where the fuck are you going?
You needed a nap.
I'm gonna ask Yardley this. Yardley, when he wargs into the Ravens and he's flying around, was that necessary? Like, I felt like that was a waste of time because to what end was that?
What the fuck are you doing?
Go ahead, Yardley.
If they didn't give him that to do, what would he have even done in the damn episode?
I think that was part because he
I think he was trying to find the Night King.
Well, and then the Night King's gotten him through the crows before.
I guess probably just something basic, a little recon. But let me say this, and I just wanted to hear your response on this, Chris. When the giant busted through the through the gate and it swiped her, I thought it was just over. I thought that was it and they were going to move on. You know, the last time we saw a giant do that, a horse flew across the Battle of the Bastards, and her little tough ass gets up from that blow, then gets crushed, and then gets the one giant that actually wants to eat somebody for some reason, and then she stabs it in the eye. But I was like, she's totally got to be the toughest.
Yeah, that was definitely. I totally agree with that. And when the giant, when it cuts over to her and she's like getting ready to get up, and I'm like, no fucking way, she survived that. And then when she gets grabbed and he's squeezing her, I thought, this is it. And I'm like, she's not gonna stab him in the eye. That's too much. That's like too good guyish. And it happened, and then hearing 100 people behind me screaming, yeah, like I cannot describe.
Can I tell you? Can I tell you what Mom said about that?
Yeah.
She was really upset. She didn't want the Lyanna Mormont to die. She was really, really upset. She actually started crying. Like my mom literally started crying when he started squeezing her. She's like, no, she's like screaming. I'm like, Mom, it's okay. And I was like, there was no way they were going to take down the giant. And my mom goes, yeah, they did. They needed a little giant to take down a mighty giant. And I was like, that was fucking straight up. They needed a little giant to take down a mighty one.
Yeah, Big Bad Brad says, I thought he squished her.
Yeah, I really did. I thought he was crushing her.
Lyanna giant.
He wasn't?
I heard some crushing.
I heard some stuff, like some of her bones break, but
her
in
armor.
all fairness, though, one little squeeze of her, she should have been kaput. You know what I mean?
True. That's true.
Yeah.
Kelly, anything in the comments that you want to read real quick?
Samantha said, yeah, she said she couldn't watch it because of the bone crunching.
Yeah, that was pretty bad. Anything in the YouTube real quick, Jules?
James said, not expected. Red Wedding, she's not dead in the books. I guess they were talking about Lady Mormont. Kayleen says, Lyanna Mormont was a boss, but I don't think she should have been on the battlefield. I'm sorry. Ricky Lampton says, maybe Bran becomes the Night King and the Night King turns into one of the generals and it goes on through history. So a lot of people are talking about the part where the Ravens go. One of our chat guys was saying, and this is from James, he says, notice the Night King didn't make the Bran's Ravens scatter for the first time.
Okay.
Hey, with Lyanna Mormont, does she have any brothers or anything like that? She like the last.
No, the whole family's wiped out.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
See, now I agree. The person who posted in the chat when he said that she should have been off the battlefield, that's even more important that she was off the battlefield because of that.
Well, now that Jorah's kaput too, so now there's nothing.
Yeah. Oh wow, that's.
Well, when we get Andrea tomorrow, I'll have to ask her who would be next in succession. She would know that. She would know that in a heartbeat.
Based on the show,
But the show wise,
yeah, on the show there's no more line. It was gone. Her and Jorah. That was it.
Okay, fair enough. We kind of talked about Samuel Tarly. Gilly was just in the crypt, and Sam, he was just on his back stabbing people. So I don't think there's really.
Can we talk about Arya?
Well, I want to get to Arya. I don't want to get just on that yet.
Well, no, I want to talk about Arya on the wall, fucking going ham with her weapon. She was. She was fucking slicing and shit like through people like it was nuts. She wasn't scared. She was fucking going ham. She was ninja Arya. It was fucking awesome.
She's definitely a ninja, and she was really good with the bow and arrow too.
Yeah,
man. I thought that watching her use her pointy stick was awesome. And at one point, did she separate it or did it break?
I think it broke.
Because it looked like she was dual, she had two pieces of it.
Yeah, I think it may have broke.
Pretty awesome.
No, it's separated because that was the piece that she gave to Sansa.
I thought Sansa.
No, I thought she gave Sansa a different dagger.
No, it was dragon glass.
Oh, so wait a minute. Okay, so because I know we got this backwards yesterday when I was talking to everybody at the convention. So Sansa kept the dagger. I'm sorry, Arya kept the dagger, right?
Yes.
And Sansa got one of the dragon glass pieces from her pokey stick.
Yeah. Okay. That makes sense. Yeah.
Okay. So that's all right. That's it. Okay.
Arya did use it when it was separated, but that was the piece that she gave up. So.
Okay, because I wasn't sure which she gave because it was so dark, and quite honestly, like I said, I haven't rewatched
Didn't
it
she
yet.
send Sansa down to the crypts before she started fighting?
She did. She sent Sansa
then-
down before.
So then
they
she wouldn't
even
have given
lit.
her that. She wouldn't have given her part of her staff then because she was using it afterwards.
Yeah, she sent Sansa down before they even lit the trench.
Well, if it wasn't the tip of that spear, it was definitely a piece of dragon
Yes,
glass.
it definitely was dragon glass.
Kelly, can you Google search that for me, just to make sure we get
Sure.
that right? Because I'm sure somebody already has it up somewhere. Thank you. Or even if you check the chat, if someone in the chat can confirm it or not. Either way, she gave Sansa one weapon or the other.
So Mag in the YouTube says she gave Sansa just a piece of dragon glass. So there's no rhyme. It was just an extra piece she must have had with her.
Okay.
She had a so Ricky Lampton says Arya had a dragon glass dagger as well. So she had extra backup just in case.
So the Valyrian steel cat's paw,
Mm-hmm.
she kept, and that's what she used to kill the Night King.
Yes.
I'd like to bring up a little point about that. I don't know if I talked to you guys about that. I think there's more to the story behind that cat's paw also, because we saw when Sam was at the Citadel and he was going through lots of books, there was a picture of that dagger in one of the books at the Citadel that they kind of zoomed in on. And I feel like that didn't just come from Littlefinger. I feel like that probably has more lore and history to it. I don't know what it is, but I feel like it's important.
I think it was Rhaegar's dagger, maybe.
Could be.
I don't know why it would be Rhaegar's.
Yeah, it was. It was.
Yeah,
was it?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
Why would it be in that book though?
Because the Citadel keeps records of everything. I don't know. It's foreshadowing.
Yeah, I mean, I don't.
They wrote it in the show.
I don't think
to
that
tell you.
necessarily means it was made when he first got it. It could definitely have a history, but
Yeah.
it was
Yeah.
definitely.
Yeah, it could be deeper than that. I don't think we'll ever find out in the show. Maybe in the book.
Maybe
they'll
in
explore
the Long Night that they're gonna do the prequel on.
Maybe that would be cool
Mhm.
to have those kind of those crossovers there. Real quick, Tormund Giantsbane was so many times I thought he was going to die. I'm so glad he didn't, because he was on my list of guys that were going to die. I don't know how you guys felt about it. Yardley, are you glad to see Tormund live? And was there like 100 times where you thought that there's just no fucking way he's going to make it?
Yeah, I said that about everybody who made it.
Literally every single fucking person.
Every character that we get to, I'm like, they should probably be dead, but I'm kind of happy. The best thing that I can take out of all of these characters is over the next couple of episodes, let's hope that there are some more deaths that are going to happen. The good thing would be is that those deaths will be more intimate. There's not going to be so much stuff going on around it. It'll be more personal. So hopefully we'll get that. And I think that we will. But this episode, just with all of these characters, it kind of disappointed me on them not selling the threat, to be honest with you.
Kelly, how did you feel about Tormund living? I'm sure you were happy that he lived.
Oh, I love him. I'm so happy he lived. I would have been sad if he died, because he's such a badass. Like, if anybody's going to live just because they refuse to die, it's him.
Yeah, that's a good point. Any comments on that, John?
I'm happy everyone lived. I'm the optimist here. I'm glad enough people I mean, we got deaths. You guys are making it look like no one died. Jorah died. Lyanna Mormont died. Beric Dondarrion died. Theon Greyjoy died. I mean, Theon, in my opinion, Theon's death is probably the most, like, just the way he's looking at Bran, and Bran's like, Theon, you're a good man. That, I think his death, just how the emotional of it, I think would trump anyone else dying in that battle.
It's not the point.
Battle at the Wall. He survived Hardhome. He survived the battle beyond the wall, and he survived this. I mean, come on, y'all.
Right?
I mean, for real. I mean, come on. But whatever. That's just.
I'll agree with you, John, that the Theon death was cool. It was good. A lot of heartstrings were pulled. I know that Trin cried because I saw her do it.
During Theon? I mean, I did when when Bran was talking to him, yes. But then when he pulled out Roy Jenkins bit with the Night King, I was like, that doesn't mean, and I can't take credit for that because I definitely heard someone else say.
Doesn't matter.
But it's freaking hilarious and it works. Like he was just like, I've got no plan. I'm just running in.
Yeah, that's funny. I think one of the most important deaths though was Beric Dondarrion.
Yo,
I mean, we found out his story arc. We found out why he was resurrected. At least this is why. Unless I'm dead wrong, which I could be. His purpose was to keep Arya from dying at that moment, so she could go on to see Melisandre, who's the real MVP in this episode, where she reminds her that I saw you were going to kill all these people, blue eye or red eyes, green eyes, or whatever. And then she says blue eyes.
Dude.
And it's like, oh wait, I gotta go. And the whole Jonathan Stomas loves that whole saying. What do we say to that? And then
that triggered Arya. She just went
when they said that. I totally was thinking about Jonathan for that. But but seriously,
it triggered.
It just means that they didn't have a plan. I mean, let's be real here. They didn't have a damn plan. The more that
who didn't
I
have
watch
a plan?
This, the fact that the fact that when Melisandre says that something goes off in Arya, she kind of understands what she has to do. So obviously that wasn't the plan. They didn't have a plan for that.
Yeah, the original plan was that Dany and Jon were supposed to hang back in the Godswood and wait for the Night King to show up because Wheel Creeper was the bait.
Yeah, but remember they couldn't get the Night King out. That was the problem.
Well, the other problem is that they were getting slaughtered out in the field. So Dany's like, no, fuck this, and this is where finally, right?
But everybody's already like, yeah.
Not just like Jim Blunt. She just drew it up in the dirt and it worked.
I'm just gonna do this thing over here really quick. Bye.
Listen, it worked in The Sandlot. Okay, it's a good movie.
Dany, I haven't liked her this entire season so far, and that one moment where she's like, you know what? We're gonna go. I'm gonna go rescue these people, and we're gonna rain fire.
I was worried though when she was on Drogon, and so like that moment where they get like enveloped by that blizzard that the Night King or the generals created. I knew that they were creating the blizzard when the two of them were flying and they couldn't see each other, and then all of a sudden Dany's off on her own. I went, this is bad, because I thought the Night King was trying to separate Dany and Jon on their dragons to get the hardest one, Drogon, on his own. But when I didn't see the Night King, like the whole episode, I'm freaking out thinking, shit, Dany's by herself on Drogon. She's got no backup, nothing. And I'm thinking, fuck, we're going to lose a dragon. And then all of a sudden, Bran's like, okay, I've got to go now. And then he sends off his ravens. He was literally scouting to find the Night King. And then all of a sudden, they get above the storm, which I kept saying to Mom, they have to get up above the storm. That was gorgeous, by the way.
You cannot argue that they didn't do an amazing job with cinematography.
Oh, it was fantastic.
But I just want to say that when you had when Jon and Dany were flying and they hit each other.
Yeah.
Like the Night King, he is not an idiot. He knew what he was doing. Kelly, any thoughts on that?
No, I'm here.
Okay.
I do agree. I love the cinematography, not just for that, but for just the entire show was spectacular. I don't know. I like the way they did it. I like the way it came out, and I think I like how Arya's story came full circle. Like it made me think that, it made me think that they've been planning this from the beginning.
Arya high. I mean, she did it.
So let me ask this question, Chris, to everybody, even you, because you don't ever usually get a chance to really go into this. So I want you to answer first. When Melisandre shows up, right, and she lights the Dothraki sword and she does the whole thing, right? Mm-hmm. And then she goes into the castle and Davos is like, fuck this bitch. He's going after her. And then Melisandre says, don't worry, Sir Davos, I'll be dead by the morning, right? Mm-hmm. I think we all thought, okay, we know where the battle's going. But when she stares at Arya from where her vantage point is to Arya on the wall, did you at that moment, Chris, and then we'll go around, did you at that moment think there was something going to happen between Arya. Did you think that was the foreshadowing, or was it when she spoke to her in I guess it was the throne room or wherever the hell they were?
I got you. So here's what I thought. When I first saw Melisandre show up, I thought, oh God, this is hope. Although she didn't bring the rest of the red ladies with her, I thought, okay, this is going to be awesome. And it still was kind of awesome, except for, the Dothraki get the shit kicked out of them. The second point, when she was staring at Arya, I didn't think anything of it other than there's something else, but I wasn't sure. This episode happened so fast, I didn't have time to sit and think, what the fuck does that mean? Especially because I'm in a group at a con and there's 100 people around me. And there was so much energy. I just didn't have time to sit and think, wonder what that means. So then, and this is going to kind of tie into Grey Worm and Melisandre, who I want to talk about real quick also. And this is going to tie into that when, Melisandre says, I'm not going to last the night anyway. I thought that she was going to sacrifice herself in some way. And at first I thought she's going to sacrifice herself to Jon Snow, who everyone thought was Azor Ahai. And he was going to make the Lord of the... what's the sword called? I can't think of the goddamn sword. The magical fire.
Lightbringer.
She was going to sacrifice herself, the whole Nisa kind of bullshit thing. And she was going to have the Longclaw be Lightbringer. And then I thought that's not going to happen. She's going to sacrifice herself by lighting the trench. She's going to jump into the trench and then light it on fire because Grey Worm couldn't run over there. I thought he was going to do the Olympic torch run, and that never fucking happened. And that's when I thought he was going to die. And the arrows weren't lighting it, and no one, and then Dany couldn't see, Sir Davos saying, "Hey, we need the fire, fucking fire," So that didn't fucking work. So I thought she was going to jump into that pit, and that was going to be her sacrifice. I saw nothing in this episode coming. Nothing. It's the God honest truth.
John.
I think I think she knew everything. Huh? I think she knew when she first met Arya what Arya was going to do way back in season, I want to say 3, when she's like, we'll meet again. And then I think she knew exactly what to say to get Arya to do that. I mean, she knows so much more than she lays on. Like, all of a sudden she says the one line that like no one but Arya would know. What do we say to the god of death? And then you just see Arya's face is triggered. I think she knew the whole time what Arya was meant to do.
Okay.
Kelly.
I agree. I don't know how. I don't know if we'll ever find out how, but I think that the Red Woman, Syrio Forel, the Faceless Men, I think all of them were tied together, and this thing with Arya was set from the minute she picked up a sword and took her first lesson.
Any Facebook comments you want to read?
Oh, let's see. A lot of them.
Now, keep in mind, to our live audience, keep in mind that we're trying to work in as much as possible in this episode, but we're going to do another episode on Thursday. We're going to do one tomorrow night and also on Thursday, where Thursday is all about you guys. So if you show up on Thursday, we'll try to read, it'll be predominantly what you write is what we're going to say. So just keep that in mind. So if you can schedule that, maybe around 8:30 on this coming Thursday.
Yeah. Andrea says the blizzard was badass. Sarah says she's worried about Dany without Jorah. He was the voice of reason and reined her in. Gisela says that the Night King knew what he was doing. He needed everyone occupied. Jon and Dany up in the air.
She's right. Gisela, shout out to Gisela. She's absolutely right. At least I think she's right. That the Night King knew he outsmarted, well, for the most part, until the end, he outsmarted everybody. He had that shit won.
Yeah, he said he just didn't expect for Arya to be willing to die trying to kill him, which was stupid.
But notice how Arya got through like the 4 generals. Like, that's scary assassin.
A girl has no name. You should have known the minute that Melisandre said, blue eyes. I looked at my mom and I said, she's going to kill the fucking Night King. It's not Jon. It's going to be Arya. We got it all wrong. We thought it would be Jon. We thought he was the prince that was promised. And then we realized we were all fucking wrong. And then out of nowhere, Arya just goes, fuck you. But we'll get to that.
I feel bad for the Night King, though, because essentially all he had to do was nothing. That was your biggest magic trick, was just sitting on your ass and just let everybody else do the work. And it's like, it's kind of sad that a guy who hasn't said a word in 8 years would just not want to chill and do like the most obvious thing, but we had to have it. But I thought the Arya thing was pretty dope. I thought it was executed well. But then now that you think about it, though, wasn't that the same move that Rey did in The Last Jedi with the trick thing or whatever?
Yeah.
Is that like a specialty move now? Like
It's a special move.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
It was pretty badass. That's all that matters.
Kelly, did you have anything
it was
else
pretty cool
to read?
Nope.
Okay. Anything in YouTube, Jules?
We've got Kayleen saying, I don't think Melisandre knew exactly what was up. As she says, proficiency is tricky. She probably didn't know exactly until it was happening. Her knowing would mean she would have avoided some mistakes. James says, I don't know if that plays into what's going on with her, but you'd really be good at reading people if you were hundreds of years old. That's a good point. It's a valid point. And then James also says, that's what I'm pissed about. Got to explain how she got there. So Chris, he's talking about what you said about what Jon said. How did Arya get there without being seen by the generals, without being seen by everybody? So that's what he's talking about.
Well, we were talking about this in the con last night at 2:00 in the morning. Keep in mind that we were, John, you remember that where she was in the tree. We were saying that she was hiding in the weirwood tree, and she jumps out like a fucking spider monkey.
You have to go back. There's a scene right where one of the generals looks. He hears something. Looks. You have to go back. It's right, like it's when the Night King's looking at Bran. He's pulling his thing out, and one of the general just looks, and I think you have to hear he hears something, and he looks, and that's when Arya comes out of nowhere.
Yeah, but the question is, how the fuck? I mean, obviously, Arya, we're already at this scene, so we're going to talk about it now. So, how the fuck did the Night King know? Because I didn't even hear her coming I didn't even see her until she came into view. So did Bran give it away with his eyes? Because the two of them are so the Night King's standing there. Dream Creeper is sitting in the wheelchair, right?
She screamed. She screamed and then he turned.
No, I'm saying at the beginning portion of it because I'm pretty positive Bran gave something away.
Julie's right, Trin. Think about it. Do you remember? I don't know if you guys remember this, and I want to get Trin's take on this because I haven't heard from her on this yet. Bran looks, he does his fucking stupid stare at the Night King.
Yeah.
And then slightly looks off to the shoulder almost. And the Night King's looking like there's that like it's Wheel Creeper versus Ice Creeper. And they're staring at each other. And it felt like 10.
Yeah. Like I was like, are you guys going to talk? Like what's happening?
Yeah. Hold on. And then Arya, or not Arya, Jesus Christ. I'm sorry. I'm really tired, guys. And then Bran kind of looks off to the shoulder, and then the Night King's like, what? And then that's when she yells, ah! Well, I don't think she yells, but she jumps out and stabs him, right? Or he grabs her neck, and then she does the whole okey doke that she did to
So
Bran.
the Night King was reaching for his weapon to take out Bran.
Oh, that's right.
And
that's right.
I was drunk during this, so if I get something wrong, sorry, not sorry.
Honestly, I could say she probably did scream, but I probably wouldn't have heard it because I was fucking jumping up and down in my living room. It was like,
was everyone
like my team just won like the NBA finals. I was like, yeah! I was like, holy fucking shit!
We heard 100 people behind us screaming when that scene.
Everyone got up, Chris. Everyone stood up when she stabbed the Night King. Everyone just stood up and was clapping and cheering. And I'm like, it was crazy. I loved it.
Kelly, what did you think?
About
did she make a sound? Did you remember any of that? Because I can't.
No, I remember her making a sound. I remember her doing a battle cry.
YouTube.
YouTube. Mag is saying that she did scream. James said, I thought she screamed too. James also says, and if all he had to do was kill Bran, who cares take the stab in the back, still game over, right? So, and yeah, everybody's saying that she did scream. So I guess I apologize. I didn't hear it because I was going absolutely batshit crazy.
A spider monkey, a ninja spider monkey.
Yeah, it was one of the problems or plot holes that my husband was saying. He was like, she's this super sneaky assassin, like ninja girl. That's not what they do. Like, she's not trained to just run at people screaming. And so it was very out of character for Arya to start screaming as she's coming down.
That's a good point, though, Julie, or Trent. That's a good point because you see her when she's. Let's talk a little bit more about Arya when she's in Winterfell and she's sneaking around that library.
Dude, yeah. Oh, somebody in YouTube said she was playing The Last of Us in the fucking library, and I thought that was perfect.
But yeah, I mean, she's sneaking around real quiet, like really, really stealthy, and I think a lot of in the scene where she's under the table and the blood drips on the ground. It gives us a sign that the whites they react on sight and hearing,
or they could smell it. Do you think they could smell the blood?
I don't know.
That was one of our thoughts.
Yeah, it could have been.
The best part was when she spun around and she stabbed that, and I guess that's probably she just stabbed that chick in the throat, and I was like,
but she didn't scream. She was quiet.
Yeah, she was
stealthy.
Yeah.
And she thought she was in the clear. And then the fucking door starts busting down.
Yeah. And I was just like, run.
Now you guys know. You guys knew. I know you did. Yardley, you knew it. That the Hound was going to show up and rescue. And I don't know. I didn't know about Beric, but I knew the Hound was going to show up and try to help her. Although I thought he was going to die, saving her. Yeah. I didn't realize it was going to be Beric. That was kind of a surprise.
Yeah, that was shocking.
Yeah, that was a cool scene. I think it's something that we definitely would expect him to do. And they kind of set us up for something like that to happen in the previous episode when he and Arya had that heart-to-heart right before Beric showed up. Yeah. Come to find out that those three characters were going to be the triangle that kind of led to what to Arya getting to where she had to be at the end of the episode. So yeah, I thought that it was cool. Once again, man, I thought he was going to die too, but
I want to talk about one of my favorite parts of this entire episode, and I hope you guys agree. I know Trent's going to have to agree with this one, was the Dance of Dragons in the Sky.
Yes.
When they were going at it, how awesome was that, Trent?
Yeah, no, that was really cool. Money well spent for as far as CGI and very impressive. I don't have anything negative to say about that. I was very, very happy with that. I don't have my notes up because I had to restart my computer, but
it's okay.
So yeah, I agree. I loved it. I don't really have any cool stuff to say about it.
John does.
Yeah.
You can see it in his face. And it looks like he smoked a bunch of weed too. So go ahead, buddy.
Stop. So I didn't. It was amazing. What I love about, and not just those dragons, but the ice dragon, is when we first see the Night King, it's not a clear, like, it's like through a, I don't know, it was through a storm and stuff. Like even when the Night King first appeared, when Dany and Jon first see the Night King and he's all like in that storm, I thought that was amazing. But yeah, like the dance, like, it's fun because what's his name? Viserion was literally breathing fire into Drogon, and there was no effect because fire doesn't affect dragons, if that's the lore in Game of Thrones, and like it still was affecting him. And then Jon comes out of nowhere and is attacking him. It was all three of those dragon warfare.
That's a plot hole right there, because if you look back at that scene when Viserion was shooting the blue fire up towards Drogon and Dany's trying to get away, Jon's trying to reconnect and trying to get his shit together to go and help her, right? As Viserion is shooting fire straight up in the air. Think back to when the Night King took the wall out, the distance he was from the wall shooting the blue fire. Now, he's not that far from Dany, and I know this is nitpicking, and she's just outrunning it. She wasn't getting hit by it, Jon. She was just outrunning it.
It looked like it was getting hit. But there's also lore in Game of Thrones, and this is more for books, that dragon fire doesn't affect dragons.
But it's not dragon fire anymore, buddy.
Yeah, it's not dragon fire anymore.
Or it's ice laser or whatever. I know we're nitpicking, but
well, why not?
Well, I mean, this is what the show's about, right? Did you?
It looked like she was getting hit by it, like, because he was on the tail of Dany.
Oh yeah,
and it looked like it was getting hit.
I thought she was getting hit too, but then when she wouldn't have lived, and The ice had to have affected the dragon somehow because he was going after her balls.
How about this? How about when all the zombies were just climbing onto Drogon at that one scene?
Yeah, that sucked. I thought
that was crazy.
I thought if Drogon's going down there, I'm going to shit a golden goose egg. Kelly, your thoughts on the Battle of the Dragons, the Dance of the Dragons, and when you're done, if you want to read any comments that are part of this conversation.
The Dance of the Dragons, they were wonderful. Andrea says the dragons in the sky were beautiful. Jimmy asked, is white dragon fire, is it different?
I think it is, but I don't know. I think it is.
Well, we don't know,
Jimmy,
do we?
Is it not fire? I think it's just blue to illustrate the difference. Book dragons have all different colored flames.
Danny's dragons won't bring down the wall. I'm just sorry.
Yeah,
let's just be real here.
I mean, Danny's dragon didn't take down the Night King, and he took on fire fucking straight on.
That's magic, though, man.
Oh yeah, he's
magic. We know
what
that.
I got from that was he was super cold, like just magical, super cold, connected to winter. I think the generals would have died, but not the Night King.
You know what the crazy scene is when those zombies started laying down on the trench.
That was pretty.
That was crazy.
They're building the bridge.
Who saw that coming? They're building a bridge. That's crazy. I figured the Night King would just like extinguish it by touching it. That's like I figured that's how he kind of like how
he couldn't because he couldn't expose himself. He was hiding in the storm. Remember? At that moment, the Night King was playing, right, exactly what Chris says. He was playing a cat and mouse game with Danny and John. He was in the sky and he was hiding in the blizzard. So he couldn't reveal himself at that moment. He could have came down and just, to extinguish the whole thing, but he would have left himself vulnerable. And it's like Chris said earlier, he was very smart. He needed everybody occupied to do what he needed to do.
What about
because I made a prediction, like one of my predictions, I didn't say this on air, but I figured because they were talking about the trench and stuff in episode 2, and I figured one of the ways I knew that was gonna fail. I thought it was just gonna be like the Night King was gonna touch it or do something to extinguish it, but I didn't think of zombies just laying down. That's freaking crazy.
That's pretty crazy. YouTube, Jules, anything on the YouTube?
A lot of people were talking about how the Night King kind of was like evading. And then Mama Cheryl says, I almost thought they were going to do the mating dance when they circled together and do almost crash landing and then come back up. I want to see that with John and Danny falling off. John Serbic says, just rewatched that scene. Arya did scream a split second before she made contact with the Night King. So leading up to the approach, she does not. When she gets close enough to him, that's when you hear the scream. That's what made him turn. Basically, it's a lot of Night King was a puppet master, which is exactly what it looked like to me. That's exactly how I perceived it. He put his hand out, he did the little dangle, and then all of a sudden they just started falling on the fire. And my mom thought they were smothering it. I was like, no, they're building a fucking human bridge is what they're doing.
Now, I don't know if we're ready to talk about this yet, but a lot of people that I talked to were saying that they were kind of disappointed that this is a big lead up to the Night King, like the big bad guy, and he died in this episode. And this episode was incredible. Do not get me wrong. I'm not trying to shit on it. I'm just saying, like, Trent, did you feel like
shit on it?
I'm
super upset about it.
Let's just warn everybody. This is all Trin's thoughts. I'm just kidding.
Yeah. It's fine. I'll be
I'm
bad
kidding.
guy
I'm
here.
just messing with you, Trin. I
walked away with such a bad taste in my mouth after this, and it wasn't anything to do with the pizza that John fed us. It was just really. Oh, you're right. He's been built up like the first season, the first episode, the first 5 minutes, 10 minutes, however long that scene was. He's not in this first scene, but White Walkers, whites are in the first scene. So from the get-go of this whole story, they are the big threat. And somehow, like, it was just super disappointing to see how sloppy he was written. His death was written. This whole final, everything was written. It was very sloppy in my opinion. And I feel like they should have, Like it's a happy ending all of a sudden. What? This isn't Game of Thrones. Come on,
But
get
there's
out of
3
here.
episodes left.
I can agree with you on that front, Trend, because when you think about it as a whole, I mean, when we look back at the Night's King, even one of the dopest things that we saw him do was kill the dragon last season. But if you think about it, he was 1 for 3 there. He was like 0 for 2 in this episode, and then he gets killed without us even getting to see him fight. He doesn't even get his sword out.
Yeah.
So once I think about all the things that he hasn't done, he sucks.
Yes.
He just really
Yes.
does.
And so many people are like, oh, he's like the tropey villain, like really, really terrible. And I can't agree more. Like they just really stole the thunder out of how big the threat was and how important it was to defeat him by, and I'm not saying because Arya did it, because like I was surprised, definitely surprised at the twist of Arya being the one and not Jon. By the way, Jon, least valuable player for this episode. Like the worst. He literally didn't get anything right. Like him and Sam, they might have been like whatever, they should have been hiding. Anyway,
Hey, I love him, but that's why I call him Scooby-Doo of Westeros, man. He's like,
God.
people are always saving his ass.
Yes,
you know what I mean?
everybody else was saving him.
Like Obi-Wan Kenobi's his ass out of situations where you're like, I know you should have died.
Yeah.
Like, how the hell did you get out of that?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, the Night King was a little bit. You're not wrong for that. Lots of people.
That
really
makes
do think
sense. That makes sense.
But the
what you're
whole
saying.
Arya thing, like I'm okay with Arya being the one.
Dany north of the wall. The hero at Beyond the Wall was Grin because he kept the giant out. He got saved by motherfucking Stannis. He got saved. I mean, he's like the friggin'
Sansa saved his ass at the Battle of the Bastards.
Yeah. I don't understand what he did in this episode, though. That I mean, I guess
he survived a dragon in a phone booth. That's what he did.
Yes, he did.
He's in a phone booth with a dragon and he lives.
Yeah,
and
that's funny.
Oh my God, whatever.
Comments on YouTube, Jules.
We've got Big E saying the Night King was afraid of Jon. He didn't want to fight him one-on-one, and that's why he rose the dead. Kayleen said, Night King dying with 3 episodes left has me feeling lost. I'm not going to be able to stomach Cersei taking them out. It seems so wrong. Terrence, over 100,000 Dothraki, thousands of Vale, Wildling, Dothraki killed in this episode. And then Cash says, I was wanting a big throwdown between Jon and the Night King.
Can I say something here? Can I say something?
A fight from the Night's King? Like he didn't even get his. I mean, don't we deserve that? All these seasons deserve to see
a one-on-one battle.
I'm just thinking the Night King can't fight.
Because
that's what I'm thinking.
The one thing Jon Snow could do really well was like sword fight one-on-one battle, and why didn't we get that?
Dude, I would have literally, if I was Jon, I would have been like, "Are you afraid to fight me one-on-one? You had to raise all the dead."
Hold on. The Night King said, "I don't have to fight you one-on-one because I'm smart." And
the Night King didn't say anything.
Hold on. Let Jon talk. He's been patiently waiting as he's high.
Someone just there commented about how Cersei's going to take them all out. Cersei's not the big bad. Daenerys is the big bad, and you watch.
There's no way.
Daenerys without Jorah.
There's no way, dude.
Without Jorah there, okay. So let's little future prediction. We have 3 episodes left. Now all of a sudden, Cersei has the most powerful army. She's got 10,000 10,000 Golden Company. And she has a Lannister army. We're probably looking at 3/4 of the Unsullied dead, the entire Dothraki horde dead, most of the Vale dead. She's gonna unleash those dragons and destroy everything. We already know the Undying with the whole. She's gonna go batshit crazy, Dany, trying to take it. If you watch the trailer, she's going after the throne now. She goes, we I can't remember the line verbatim, but she's like, we defeated the Great War. Now let's go after the last battle, whatever. She's gonna be the one true bad villain because she's gonna go batshit crazy.
She's walking into a trap. Okay. Dany's walking into a trap.
Comments, Kelly from Facebook.
Yeah. A lot of people are saying. Sarah says the entire show is about how things don't work out as you had planned. And she thought it was artful that it was Arya who ended up taking him out. She was like the one person no one thought was important until the end. Even the Night King didn't see her as part of it. Gisela says Cersei's the enemy right now. And yeah, I think honestly, the way that they did it is kind of pointing out that Cersei is the big bad.
Well, we'll have to wait and see. That's for sure. Let's talk about Sansa, and let's talk about Tyrion in the crypt. I think we all said the crypt was not safe except for Jon, which is okay. Don't worry, Jon. It's all right. But
Again, name me somewhere more safer.
with Sansa, and Tyrion kind of winking at each other, and I thought, oh, they're going to kiss.
That was a beautiful
Did anyone
moment.
Did anyone else think that was going to happen?
Kissed her
Yarly,
hand.
did you think that they were going to
I
kiss?
didn't think that they were going to kiss, but they definitely
did you
made
want
a
them to?
connection.
I did.
Yeah, I mean, I totally, we know the journey that Sansa's been through, and we know that Tyrion is an upgrade of anybody that she's been in, and I think that they're setting up the potential for that. They're either setting it up for that, or they're setting it up for a lot of heartbreak down the stretch. So, I thought that it was solid. The one thing that I wish they would have. It just seemed like they were resigned to dying, and I wish that wasn't the case.
Trent?
They were resigned to dying because they were just trying to sort of survive. And even Sansa says, what I forget exactly what she said, but it was in the previews. Like the only thing we can do now is look the truth in the face or something like that. And I'm totally misquoting it, but what did she say, Julie? Do you remember?
She said, "There's nothing we can do. There's nothing we can do," is what she said. We have to accept our truth. Is basically what she said. Made me so fucking mad. But go ahead, Trent. You finished.
Okay. And so they were obviously hiding, and then she has the dragon glass, and didn't she give it to Tyrion? And then Tyrion was walking out like he was going to do something, his little, Battle of Blackwater 2.0 for him, because, he can do some fighting a little bit. No
Did
pun
Varys
intended.
say a word in this episode, Trent? Do you remember?
Varys?
Did Varys say anything in the episode?
Him and Tyrion had I thought they had a quick little conversation when Tyrion came down, but that's
okay.
That's all. But yeah, no, they were all down there scared for their lives, and Tyrion was about to go do something, and then everybody died because that's when the Night King got killed. Yeah. So plot armor.
This episode did a lot of theory busting too, didn't it, Trent? I mean, a lot of didn't we all think in the early going, Varys and Littlefinger, they're really going to be up to something, and then Varys just disappeared. You know what I'm saying?
Varys can still do something.
That there wasn't more with him in the series.
I don't think Varys is going to do anything at this point. I mean, do you even have time for that? He's sitting there in the crypts with us. Hold on, John. Just wait.
Sorry.
He's got a scratch on his head. He's sitting there doing nothing. I mean, I don't see it at this point. I do not see it in the books. Absolutely. What's that?
You mean Varys doesn't have anything to do for the rest of the season?
Well, I mean, he's going to advise, but I don't see him doing any. Everyone's talking about him pulling some bullshit Blackfire shit. I don't see that on the show. In the books, I can believe it. There's a lot of evidence in the books. I don't see a lot of that in the show, and it could be. I'm usually wrong. So, if anyone in the chat wants to chime in and say why they think that may be the opposite, that's fine. Go ahead. But I don't know. I don't see it. I don't see.
What if he gets the Golden Company to turn on Cersei?
I think that when the Golden Company sees two big ass fucking dragons flying into into King's Landing, that's going to have a lot to do with it. And of course, we still don't know what. And I don't want to start predicting in the next episodes. I'm just going to stick to this episode. But you still have Bronn, who's got a chest full of gold. We don't know what he's doing, so I don't want to predict just yet. That's for later on. Let's go back to some of the characters that died. I want to talk about Jorah Mormont. I like Jorah Mormont. Yes. He's always been in the friend zone, and when him and Dany were fighting together, I had feels. I had feels, and that was one of the deaths that almost pulled a tear out of my eye. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, I agree with you. That was really like he was defending her. It's oh my god, like he just came out of nowhere too. Like he just found Dany. Like that's what I love about Jorah. Like he just found like Dany was like surrounded, and then all of a sudden he just comes out of nowhere, and him lying there like at the end, Dany crying. Like I can't remember last time I saw Dany full out cry in the show. Like she was bawling, crying.
Well, who would have thought the dragons are like kittens? The dragon hug,
Dude, I couldn't.
Oh, that was adorable.
right?
Chris, can I just
gonna
make
cry
a comment?
thinking about that.
Yeah, that was a great scene.
Like one of the few things in this episode that I really loved. Like he needed to have a beautiful death scene doing what he was meant to do, which was protect her. And just I'm not going to say that Emilia Clarke is a bad act. We've seen a wide range from her, and she's done some things that are terrible or you can't really read. But in this scene, like John was just saying, like her weeping was so moving and so touching. And then of course, yeah, when Drogon cuddles, oh Lord, it was just too much feels. And that was the best one, best death
Kelly?
scene.
Yeah, I agree. It was I thought Dany's reaction to the death was heart-wrenching, and the dragon cuddle. Like I was crying when Dany started crying, and then I started bawling when she got the dragon hug.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. Jules.
So I kind of want to go back for a second to the Sansa Tyrion thing and then the Sansa stuff in the crypt. This is particularly why I can't stand Sansa right now. When she goes down into the crypt, you are quintessentially the leader of Winterfell. You are the person that they're looking to for that strength. And all these innocent women and children are in the crypt looking to you to have that strength. And you basically throw in the towel. You're like, we can't do anything. There's nothing we can do. So we just have to accept the reality and the truth. She's just throwing in the towel, right? So then they start coming through the crypts, and she has that great moment. And I think that was a fantastic moment. I'm glad they snuck it in between Sansa and Tyrion as they're hiding behind that one crypt. I'm so glad they snuck that in because it really felt like it humanized her again. But she also makes that comment about the Dragon Queen, and Melisandre's like, if it weren't for the Dragon Queen, you'd already be dead. Like, so we already now feel that now the tension's back up. But here's why I love the Dany scene out in front of the gate. Now, remember, Drogon's got all these White Walkers on him, and he's flying away trying to shake them the fuck off of him. He can't get them off, right? So I'm thinking, shit, there goes the dragon. Now she doesn't have Drogon, but she's got to protect Jorah, and Jorah's got to protect her. And here's why I think now Dany has the advantage. And somebody actually said it in the YouTube chat, which I can't remember who it was, but thank you because you made me remember it because I was thinking the same thing. Dany now has more of a leg to stand on because she's out there with a fucking sword fighting off. She's not very good at it, but she's out there with a fucking sword trying everything she can to fight and survive and keep going. And then all of a sudden, obviously, Jorah is starting. He's getting stabbed. He's trying to hold it together. He's doing everything he can to protect his queen and all that stuff. And she's stabbing and swinging. And then all of a sudden the Night King dies, and then all the White Walkers die, and Jorah dies in her arms, and she's bawling. And I was just like, I can't. This is too much. From the very start with Jorah, going all the way through all the shit he had to go through, being casted away and then coming back and then having grayscale and then having to go away and come back. And to have him die like that, I thought it was probably the best death scene we have had because it had the most weight behind it. And then when the dragon came down and felt his mother's pain, I was like, I'm done. I can't turn it off. Go to fade to black. I can't. It's too much. It's too much.
Comments in YouTube?
We have a couple comments. We've got Surbeck. John Surbeck says the whites were like a swarm of ants on Drogon. It was scary. Robert says, I think some of the bad acting in the past may have had to do with her health. That goes back to what you said, Trin. Kayleen said, I thought the same thing about Sansa. I thought she should have tried to keep people calm, but she was over it.
Okay. Yardley, any thoughts on the Jorah thing before we move on?
Yeah, I like the dragon hug. I thought that was cool. I wish you would have had more. Like, he didn't have last words, did he? He pretty much just died in her arms. He didn't have any last words. I think he deserved to at least get out of Khaleesi or something.
Did he say
before
it
died,
hurts? Did he say it hurts?
I don't think he said it hurts.
Do y'all feel like it would have been even more impactful had the character of Jorah been around a little bit longer, after the Dragon Scale thing? I wish they had more time together on the show. I'm kind of greedy.
Yeah, I could see that.
I agree.
Comments on Facebook by any chance? Kelly?
Yeah. It's actually a good point. Andrew says when Drogon cuddled, then it was so sweet. He's known Jorah since he was born.
Yeah,
That's a good point.
that's true.
I always thought that Jorah might have gotten to ride one of the dragons, but
People are saying that
at
he
least-
did say, I'm hurt. Or I hurt.
Oh, he did? Okay.
That's what closed captioning said he said.
That's true, because I thought I read that in the closed captioning. I don't know if he actually said it or not, or maybe he was supposed. I don't know. I have to go back. I
gotta
like I
watch
said,
it
I haven't gone back and watched this. Let's see. We could do. We'll talk about that in a second. John, any thoughts on that scene before we move on?
A very emotional scene. Just all I can say is very emotional. Danny, I never saw Danny cry before, and that was heartbreaking.
Yeah, I don't remember. Well, she cried with
She
Khal
she
Drogo,
did die
Yeah,
with Cal,
right.
yeah.
but we
that was
haven't
it.
seen her cry since. Right?
Correct.
That was a long time.
Yeah, John Surback on YouTube said this, and I absolutely agree with him. Ser Jorah died saving his love, his queen, one last time, just like how he would have wanted to go. That was emotional. That was an emotional death. That one hurt. That one hurt. I thought he was
Yardley is it was Jorah was the one who said there is no word for thank you in Dothraki, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
So maybe that's why he didn't get any like real big ending or anything. It was
And they are saying
implied.
on YouTube, Chris, they're saying he said, I'm hurt. I'm hurt, is what he said.
Yeah. I have to start watching it on closed captioning. But hey, I told you Sam's getting his sword back.
Yeah.
That's true. That's exactly what you said. I got to say though, seeing, did you guys think Viserion? Is Viserion? Am I saying it right?
Viserion's the dragon that the Night King had.
Yeah, but did you think he was dead when Drogon tore into his neck and he like disappeared for a while? And then I thought he was gone. I thought, wow, the dragon went out like that. And then when Jon was actually chasing after the Night King and the dragon crashes into Winterfell and he's got Jon Snow trapped. Like Jon Snow was trapped. He couldn't go anywhere. That was amazing. That scene was it was amazing to see. It was amazing to experience. But again, it was like, come on. I thought Jon was supposed to be the hero. And I thought this was his big moment. It shows you what Game of Thrones will do. Like, hey, you think Jon's the hero in this episode? Watch this. And I love how they threw
like
him
he
down.
was
Yeah,
going to
I
slay
love it.
the dragon. With, he's got the Valyrian steel sword and he's running around and he's trying to get to Bran. And why doesn't he slay this dragon? Because garbage. That's all.
Yeah, he was standing there. He was like standing there.
I'm so annoyed.
Yeah. That's
Oh, he's ready to it.
It's like hot garbage.
I got to defend my boy Jon Snow here.
Okay, you want to defend it right now?
People are forgetting he brought everyone together. You take away Jon Snow, the North has no one. Danny's still trying to take King's Landing. Jon united. I mean, Danny says the best. Who seduced who? I was already. I'm not. This is not what she said, but she quote. I'm misquoting, but she's like, I was gonna go to King's Landing, take the throne. That's what I wanted. Always wanted. Now I'm here fighting for you. Jon united everyone. He got all the houses. He united everyone. Listen, again, I'm gonna go back to what I said earlier. HBO. No, I'm gonna go back to what I said earlier. HBO did the opposite of what everyone wanted. If HBO just gave you everything you wanted Brienne's death, it still would have been a great episode, but HBO is not gonna do that. The D&D is gonna be like, no, we're gonna do something a little bit different. We're gonna change it up, you know.
Okay, fair enough. Let's go around the table and do our sword review. We'll give it our sword rating, and then I want to talk about. I guess we'll kind of talk about prediction for the next episode, and we'll get some chat stuff in as well. So everyone listening to the show live, either at BehindTheIronThrone.tv or Facebook.com/Behind the Iron Throne, or at GetVokal.com. We're going to do our sword ratings. We do it from 1 to 10. 1 being the worst, 10 being the absolute best. Nice, Julie. So we're going to go from there. I'm going to get everyone's thoughts. We're going to start with Jonathan Stoma Starklover. Go ahead, John. How many sword ratings, or maybe your favorite scene?
10 swords out of 10. I think this episode is perfect on every front, from cinematography to the like. We didn't talk about the music, how great some of that music is, like especially when the Night King's in front of Bran. I thought the music of this episode was phenomenal. My favorite scene, oh man, I'm gonna go Arya. Arya killing the Night King, but then I also love Theon's death. I thought that was very beautiful, and of course, Melisandre telling Arya, "What do we say to the god of death?" Not to. So that's pretty much it.
Okay,
are we gonna do predictions now, or you want to do it after?
We'll do it after. I want to go around and get predictions again because I want to get some of the chat in too. So I'm going to do 3 ratings because I did that episode for. I did that other episode that I lost, and I'm so sorry to Lady Gwen from Radio Westeros. I'm so sorry to Tara, who is the organizer for Ice and Fire Con, and to Nami, a cosplayer. I lost the audio, and I can't. I've been struggling to get it while we're doing this podcast, and I'm so fucking sorry. And I'm so sorry to the audience because we literally walked out of the fucking episode with 100 people in tow, and the energy was just. I cannot describe it. I'm so fucking mad. I'm so sorry, guys. But I do have a recorded of our reactions on my iPhone, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to work it. I want to try to play it sometime in one of these episodes so you can hear some of it, or maybe I'll make another podcast where we talk about just what we did at the con. I got to find out what my co-hosts, what time they have to do that. But I want you guys to eventually hear that because it was amazing. It was unreal. So I'm so sorry. Nami gave it an 8.5 out of 10 stars. Lady Gwen, she didn't get a chance to really rate it, but she really did like the episode. I'm guessing it was a 9 out of 10 just by the way she was describing it in that interview. And check out their podcast, Radio Westeros, awesome podcast. And I talked to Lady Gwen, and we're going to get her on the podcast as soon as things settle down a little bit. Matter of fact, I got a lot of people that agreed to come on the podcast, and it'll be a little bit extra bonus for later on down the road. Tara, who doesn't like the show, who is a huge lover of the books, actually, well, she choked on her wine when she gave this rating, but she gave it a 9 out of 10. And I had it on fucking tape. Well, not tape. I had it on digital. Damn it. We're gonna have her back on the podcast real soon because she said she's going to be pretty available for the next couple months. And my rating is going to be 9 out of 10. Personally, I think this is the best episode I've ever seen of Game of Thrones in terms of cinematography, the costume, the CGI, minus all the black. Although I have an idea why they did it. It made it hard to see, so that kind of knocks a little bit of a point off there. I like how it was fast paced. I like how there was anticipation. It reminded me of when you order like an ice cream sundae and a hot fudge brownie, and you take hot and cold and put it together. It just freaking worked for me anyway. And my heart was thumping so hard in my chest when the episode first came on. And it might have been because of the amazing Ice and FireCon people cheering and actually like humming the song in the beginning. That was fucking amazing. But it was also that anticipation, that little bit of horror that this is the big dukeroo between life and death. So yeah, 9 swords out of 10 for me. All right, let's go with Yardley next.
Holding my nose, I'll have to give it a 7 out of 10. I've seen the episode 3 times, and every time I watch it, I like it a little bit less. So I'm just gonna ride with 7, but my gut is saying like a 6.5.
Okay, fair enough. Trin, let's see what you say.
Okay, if you guys email at Dovahkeen Trin, I'm giving it a 6 out of 10 because the first half was pretty good. I had a lot of expectations. I thought we were going to get a lot more death. Not that I wanted to see my favorite characters die, but it was just really pumped up that way. And they've set a precedent. So I was just super disappointed with how tropey the villain ended up being and how just feel good. Ugh. And my favorite scene, not that I liked seeing Jorah die, but that was the most moving one for me, was the most touching one. And that was the crying, the weepy crying.
Were you a little disappointed because you had 2 boxes of tissues and only like you maybe not even a quarter of the box?
Yeah, I had my death predictions, and not only did not hardly any of them happen, but it was like I really thought, to be, I thought I was being generous on my death predictions. And not only did that not happen, it was just way less than what I thought. Like, I really thought that they were going to hurt us, like crush our souls. And I didn't feel all that crushed. And
you were ready.
Yeah,
too.
I was really ready for it. And I was sad when when they didn't deliver on that. We just saw a bunch of Dothraki die. That's all. So
I also got to say that Trin was prepared when we got to sit in this convention room, the hall. You had your elephant pants.
Mm-hmm. Yep, for Cersei.
We just lost her. She had her elephant pants, and she had a whole lot of alcohol, which John should not have drank. I'm just saying.
Again, I think you're underestimating the fact that I watched the full episode.
I know. I'm gonna underestimate.
Like,
you have a problem. We're gonna have to talk about at the end of the show, buddy. Okay.
There's no problem.
Oh yeah, there's a
I'm
problem.
having fun, man. Come on.
I know. Julie, let's do the YouTube first. Let's get in the audience, see what their scores are, and then you go.
Okay, so we've got Sheena saying 8 out of 10. Cash is saying an 8 out of 10. John Serbeck is saying a 7 out of 10. Andrea saying 9 out of 10, question mark. It was a total 10 for me. James Wilcox is saying 9 out of 10. Mag is saying 9 out of 10. That's all the ratings we have currently popped out there. So I'll go ahead and say mine. I'm giving it a 9 out of 10 as well. I'm not giving it a full 10, and here's why. Right now, at this very moment, in my mind, it is the best episode of Game of Thrones, bar none. It was the best episode of the entire series. There was a lot of stuff that was left to be desired. I agree with Yardley. Too many main people are still alive. Why? We don't know yet. Maybe that's going to reveal itself next episode. Who knows? I loved the Dance of the Dragons. I thought that was fucking phenomenal. I thought it was very well done, especially when they got above the storm. It was beautiful. It was magnificent. I reduce it about a half a point because I couldn't see the fucking beginning of it. It was so dark and so hard. But I get what Chris, you and I talked when you were on your way home from Fire and Ice Con, and you kind of explained to me why you thought that, and it makes sense why you said that. A couple other points, a couple other parts I take off is, not enough people died. I was expecting more people to go. The people that did died, however, they were significant, and it did pull at your heartstrings. First, having Lyanna Mormont go and the way she went, it was so badass. And then, I agree with John. I think Theon's, the whole sequence with Theon, keep fighting, keep going, stand your ground. He gets all the way to the end, and he's just surrounded, and there's nothing he can do. And, he basically looks at Bran, and they have this great moment. And then Theon's like, fuck it. I got to defend him, and this is the only thing I can do at this point. But I still say that the Jorah Mormont death was the most heart-wrenching for me just because of the arc we went through. I give it
more than Lyanna.
More than Lyanna. I think it's because we have more history with Jorah. To me, Lyanna Mormont was just bad fucking ass, and she went out a hero. I don't care what anybody says, that moment right there, that moment that she has of sacrificing herself, she saved more people in that moment than any of them. Because that giant was going to just completely decimate them. Doesn't help that she was raised back up as a white after the fact, but in that moment she did it. The only reason why I'm giving it a 9 out of 10 also is we're only at episode 3. We have another battle to go. We have a lot of more setup, I think, whatever, but I'm holding out. I may change the rating for this one when we go back and review the season again in more length, but right now I'm giving it a 9 because to me it was the best Game of Thrones episode so far.
Okay.
Hey, you know what else made that tragic really quickly with Lyanna Mormont? The fact that she's the last one, that died. But all of the people who witnessed that, it'll never be remembered because they're all dead. So it's, in a way, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not a story that could be told, and that makes it even sadder.
Yeah, and I totally forgot about the whole when the Night King raised everybody up that we lost, and they're all opening their eyes. I've totally forgot.
I
about
also
that.
liked too, Chris, the fact that here's this mighty little giant, and she is the hero. She was instead of it being Jamie or Brienne or all the characters we're so familiar with, she was the hero.
All heroes in a way.
Yeah, but you know what I'm saying. Like, she makes an instant decision,
Yeah. She was badass. I don't think you can deny that. They wrote her a badass. In my opinion, that's a good way to die. Well, it's not a good way to die. It's a good way to. Well, she's not going to be remembered if nobody saw it. It was cool to watch. It was hard to watch. That doesn't come out right either. You guys know what I mean. It
was different.
It was a great scene because it really pulls at your heartstrings, and there was an end to her story arc that was worthy of her being a badass. The way with her attitude about, I'm not going to go in the crypts. I'm going to fucking fight.
Yeah.
So that being said, Kelly, you're up. Or if you want to do the Facebook, if anyone in Facebook first, and then you.
Yes, we have Irina giving it 8 swords out of 10. We have Danielle giving it a 7 because Arya is amazing. No death took it down. I would give it an 8 out of 10.
Okay. You're like right there, right? Like 8.5, maybe?
Maybe 8.5. I mean, it was excellent. I did expect more people to die. One thing that I really did enjoy that actually has still stayed with me is the musical score. I think the musical score for that episode was fantastically done. And it was just this beautiful mix of action and just heart wrench, but at the same time still hopeful. And that just added to the overall enjoyment of the episode for me.
If anybody in Get Vocal wants to shoot us their sword rating, 1 out of 10, go ahead and do so now, and I will definitely read it while we're going to do our quick predictions for the next episode. And there, I was just looking at the show notes and that picture that was put in there of the Night King. We totally forgot about this. Also, we talked about it, but we didn't go into too much depth. Where, here's Dany. She's looking down at the Night King. She has that chance. She takes it. Dracarys, big event. Fire and death shooting down at the Night King, and we all knew he wasn't going to melt. I mean, although I think some of us felt like, oh God, this could be the end. And he's just standing there and he fucking grins at her. The only time the Night King shows any emotion was at this moment.
He's the Ice King. He's the Ice King Darth Maul.
You know what made it even worse, Chris, is the fact that, remember, after all of that happens, she flies off, he throws the spear or whatever.
Just misses Drogon.
What should have happened is basically when she's got the fire on him, all you see is a spear come out of the fire because she's literally, it's stationary right in front of him and kill the dragon. I'm like, the Night King is a bum.
What an idiot. Oh, that's funny.
It's what I tell Chris. What I tell you, it's not quantity over quality.
Well, I think it depends on who's writing it.
Yeah. Well, I guess it does, doesn't it?
Because if this was more realistic, there is no way that this would have played out that way.
Cersei's going to show him how it's done.
Yeah, that's messed up.
Not to go off topic. Sorry, Chris, finish.
But if you're going off topic, hold on a second. Is this a predictions for the next?
No, I just want to say that.
Go ahead.
Remember, they know what happens in the books. We could not even get a Night King in the books. I'm just gonna throw that out there.
Okay, fair enough. Let's do what's next for the survivors. We'll go around the panel and see what's next, and of course, you guys can still get your sword ratings in and get vocal in YouTube, in Facebook, if you want to. So go ahead. Let's see, Yardley. What do you think's next for our characters?
I think like the last time that we were talking about where we felt like Cersei might have ended up being in a situation where she'll be outmatched, blah, blah, blah. She ended up coming out on top. I think in a way it is to her advantage. She's got healthy troops, well-fed. They didn't go through that battle. She still got wildfire. There's a reason why they show that scorpion prominently in the opening credits. I think that one of those dragons is going to get hit with the same scorpion that killed Balerion or whatever. I think that all of these things are going to come into play. Anytime that you think that a character like Cersei is up against the ropes, she always kind of does something. And I think the playing field is still it's pretty much towards Daenerys. She still has the two dragons, as Jonathan pointed out, so they still do have an advantage. But I think by the end of the next episode, the playing field is going to be even more even. I don't think Cersei's dying next week. I think that it's going to be something pretty awesome that comes out of that corner.
Cool. Trin, you're up.
Well, I don't really want to do any predictions because I had to redact everything. They keep twisting and turning. I will say that Sansa is going to be extremely important when it comes to taking on Cersei. She's going to be a key character, kind of like Arya's whole journey led up to killing the Night King. I think Sansa's whole journey and storyline is not that she's going to be the one to take Cersei out physically, but I feel like that's going to be a political match, and that's where Sansa's, coming into play. It's literally her whole purpose and her whole story arc. Sansa's. I'm still holding out. Yeah, I'm still holding out that we're going to get a freaking payoff on all the talk about them getting married, the Jon and Dany marriage, and a baby, because, I can't have kids. Well, why would you think that? Yeah, they keep setting it up over and over. Like, let's pay it off or stop talking about it. Okay. And I said this in the chat earlier when I was talking to some people. Qyburn might have some kind of trick up his sleeve that makes maybe Dany or Cersei a Night Queen, because he's super obsessed with the dead and bringing people back from the dead and that whole necromancy thing. So he said specifically that Cersei had, when he was talking to Bronn in the brothel, that Cersei had other plans for the Dragon Queen. So I'm wondering if that's, there's been some theories and whatnot. I want to know what he's got. And I am also holding out for Clegane Bull.
Nice. John.
I think episode 4 is going to be like a recovery episode. I don't think we're going to get too much action. I think 5 and 6 will get that. I had a great conversation with Brian from House Frey. Chris, and you know who he is. Hashtag twinning. Oh my God, I'm gonna stop.
I joined House Frey.
You are a traitor, first of all, for doing
next
that.
year when you do your jousting. Which, if
okay,
you haven't
so anyways,
seen John,
we
if you
talked
haven't seen John joust, check out the Facebook page. He jousts and does melee competition, and he takes it very fucking seriously.
I didn't.
Yes, you did. It was fun though. It was fun. Facebook.com/Behind Iron Throne.
No, what was fun was me and Brian were playing off each other. Like, we were laughing about this too afterwards. Like, I was so much fun because anyways, get back to what I was saying. I said this to him, I think I think Jamie will be to kill Cersei in a reminiscence to how he killed the Mad King. I think Cersei will tell Jamie that she's got something planned and not necessarily stabbing him like a choking. And I think that's how Cersei goes. And I think I'm going to send hate mail to me. I think John's going to kill Dany because I think Dany's going to go too far. Okay. Without, like I said, Jorah was always the moral compass for Dany. Now that he's dead, who's going to be the moral compass? Tyrion? I don't think so. I see Jon killing Dany. Trin mentioned this before about bittersweet ending for this show. Even Gwendolyn is a Christie. Am I saying that right? Anyone? She said, and again, take this with a grain of salt because I don't believe what anyone says anymore. She said you're gonna need therapy after the finale. I mean, what more for fans get therapy than Jon killing Dany? I'm just gonna throw it out there. But again, I'm wearing tinfoil hat theory here. So
okay, fair enough. Let's say Julie and anything on the YouTube.
We've got a couple people going back and forth about some stuff. Andrea says, "Oh my God, Trinity, you're so right. Sansa should play a huge role with Cersei's death. What a great story arc for Sansa." James Wilcox said Tyrion did say in season 8, episode 2, he may go down and rip her apart, meaning Cersei, when this is over, to Jamie. And then John Surbeck says, keeping predictions from last week, episode 3, Night King battle concludes. Episode 4, recovery and prep for the King's Landing battle. Episode 5, King's Landing battle. See episode 6, series wrap up and Dream of Spring. So he's still rolling with that. Somebody did make a comment about Drogon is gonna get speared and Jon will have the only living dragon left. And Alyssa says 10 out of 10 swords.
All right, awesome. Julie, prediction?
I'm with Trin. I don't think I can even predict anything anymore. I'm too afraid to predict anything. I said in this episode I didn't think Jorah was going to die, just because I thought of the significance of the sword. I thought Sam would die, not Jorah. Got that backwards. I thought Jamie might have died in this episode or Pod. I wasn't 100% sold that Brienne would die. Having all three of them live was beyond. When Yardley talked about it when we were talking in our Facebook message group, I was completely on board with what he said. Too many of these guys are still alive. What the significance is of that, I don't know. But there's a very big problem. Cersei has, and John just mentioned this, Cersei has a full army that has been rested, well fed, and the North and Dany have literally nothing. The Dothraki are gone. I think it's more than half of the Unsullied are gone. There's not enough Northmen left to fight because they were all rose up as fucking White Walkers. So they don't really have a whole lot. If anything, the next episode would probably be. It's kind of going to take some time. So I think it's going to push forward in the timeline so they have time to recover before they make the march down to King's Landing. I don't think Bronn will follow through with the killing of whether it's Tyrion he's supposed to kill or Jamie. I'm not convinced he'll do it. I'm not 100% convinced he'll do it. I just don't know at this point. As far as the battle for King's Landing, I did read what John was talking about with Gwendolyn Christie said about, we're all going to need a Xanax and therapy after this season. After these first 3 episodes, I already needed it. There was so much jam-packed, but I think Trin is right. Are we going to get an answer on Dany and Jon? Is their relationship beyond reproach at this moment? Is it breached? I think Jon still is in love with her to an extent. I think Dany is too hurt and pained. I think not having Jorah is going to kind of tip her off a balance, but I still think that that Tyrion is still there, and that's going to help her because he's going to try to bring her back into balance. So that's about where I'm at.
Right, excellent points, kid. I just have 2 things, and then we'll move on to Kelly and Facebook. I'm not going to make any predictions, but I'm curious to know everybody that's been connected to R'hllor that was a character of importance, Thoros of Myr, Melisandre, Beric, Dondarrion, are all dead. The only one that's left alive that's been resurrected or any connection that we see as a main character is Jon Snow. Jon Snow was resurrected for what reason? There has to be a bigger reason. I don't know what it is, and I'm wondering, and I'm not trying to pick on you, John. I'm not being an asshole. I wonder if he's going to die because he's the only one left that's been touched by R'hllor who's still alive, and all of them they're all fucking dead. The rest of them are dead. So I'm seeing a pattern here. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. However, I want to say something about Cersei. People shit on Cersei all the time. Cersei's a bitch. Cersei's this. Cersei's that. And all those things are very justified and pretty much true. However, you got to give Cersei credit for being a lunatic, crazy nut. She literally left the North to fucking fend for themselves, and her battle was just made a whole lot easier thanks to the Night King. There is tactical intelligence there, in my opinion. I don't know much about that kind of stuff. This is just what I see. I could be dead wrong. Kelly.
You know, Chris, my husband agrees with you. His comment was, Cersei might be a cunt, but at least she's a consistent one.
Nice.
It's very true.
So from Facebook, we have Irina saying, my prediction for the rest of the series, baby swap. And Andrea says, Arya's coming for you, Cersei.
Nice.
Oh God.
Sir, I don't know about predicting an outcome. I'm just interested in watching them address Jon's parentage, Dany's reaction, and if Gendry's own heritage comes up as well. She has no one to advise her well anymore. She's going to be navigating this without Jorah, and I don't know that she trusts Tyrion, especially if he's friendly with Sansa. And Danielle says Jon's going to die because, like Beric, he came for a specific purpose.
That's what I'm thinking.
Is it wrong of me to want Arya now to kill Cersei just to get Yarly's reaction?
Arya is not going to kill Cersei.
I
mean,
I know, but
really
I kind of want it now
You're
just for his
the Night
reaction.
King and Cersei. Wouldn't y'all roll y'all
Yes.
eyes at that?
I would,
I'd be
I would
livid.
disown this franchise.
Honestly, Arya fulfilled her destiny. That's it.
So mad.
Okay.
I would burn all of these banners
You
behind me.
so would not.
But there are ways that, I mean, I don't think that another Stark dying should be taken off the table because think about it, I think Tyrion's going to mess up one more time. He and Varys, remember the tunnels that Tyrion went up through to kill Tywin with? You know that they're going to give that intel. And I think that's going to be a trap. Cersei knows that they're going to try to come underground, and that's where the wildfire is going to be. And it's going to fuck up more people than we would anticipate.
Trap.
Yeah.
Yardley, you and Train are not wrong because Cersei, everyone talks shit about Cersei, and it sucks that she's the big bad guy now, but this character still is dangerous and has relevance. And she proved it by letting the North struggle for themselves. She's like, fuck you. No, I only got to deal with a fraction of the army. Kelly, did you do your prediction before we end? We got about 6 minutes.
I really don't have any predictions. Not quite sure what's going to happen.
Okay. Fair enough. So real quick, we're done the show. I want to thank everyone for being on the podcast. Jonathan Stoma Starklever, thank you so much. Trin, you guys are awesome. Julie, Yardley, and of course Kelly Hollaback at Jahalawa. Just to give everyone a schedule, because I feel really bad that I lost that audio. I'm going to do an episode tomorrow night with Andrea. We're going to do a little bit more breakdown of this episode and try to see like some of the connections that we, like book wise and whatever, Andrea is amazing at that, taking even deeper. So we're going to have her on to do that. And I don't know who else is going to be on the episode just yet, except for myself. Secondly, we're going to be doing a episode on Thursday where I kind of want to get more reaction from the audience. So we're going to go live on Thursday. It would be May 2nd?
Yes, that's May the 2nd. Yep.
So we'll go live at about 8:30 unless something comes up. I really want to try to do that. And of course, we're going to go live again next Monday night after we have a chance to watch the Game of Thrones and see how episode 4 looks. Thank you guys so much for downloading the podcast, for checking us out at facebook.com/Behind the Iron Throne, for checking us out at behindtheironthrone.tv, and of course at getvocal.com. And I want to thank everyone for downloading the podcast, being a part of the community, and being patient with us. And also, you guys on Facebook are awesome. All the comments, all the posts, watching the live videos that we're able to do when we were at Ice and FireCon. And a big shout out to every podcaster, every content creator, every fan, everybody that was at Ice and FireCon. You guys are awesome. An absolute amazing time. And I just want to do an episode talking about Ice and FireCon again, because there was so much stuff that we didn't get to share with you just because the internet was absolute fucking trash. I mean, it was really bad. I cannot stress that enough.
Did you recorded my panel, right? Guys, I did a panel. It was one of my favorite panels. I did it with Tara and I can't remember the other guy's name.
LML.
I'm so
Lucifer means lightning.
And it was on season. By the way, yeah, it was amazing. I did a panel with the fact I did a panel with Tara is amazing because she's like one of the best. And it was on the win prediction, what we want to see from winter. So I think Chris put it on. So check it out. And then me and Trin did a panel on which D class for Game of Thrones characters. I don't think we were. We have to figure out if that was recorded or not. We did that. I did a panel on Stark parenting, and then me, Chris, Chin, we did a Banner Throw meetup,
which is going to be episode 209. I'm going to make that an episode tonight.
And check out. I'm going to be uploading like 600 and something photos and videos. I've already started it. It's on my page, so check it out on Jonathan Sumas. There's a joust, and Chris recorded the jousting, and that's the funnest I've ever had. I mean, because there's a group of guys that were House Frey, okay, and they were wearing the black little Frey hats. Yes, there's my boy right there, Jacob.
There he is,
and they were like cheering. It was so, and then I was playing off them and being the Stark, and and Chris will tell you it's one of the funnest. It was so fun, and the crowd was in it. You guys got to check it out. It's hilarious. And next year it's supposed to be even bigger.
Yeah, absolutely. So we'll see you guys next time for another great adventure with your friends from Behind the Iron Throne. #BeTit. See you guys. Woo!
See ya.
Bye.
Where's Jacob?
He went to bed.
You've got to smoke a lot less weed before you get on the podcast.
I didn't smoke anything, man. I'm just excited.
Just tired?
How did I smoke? I literally came 2 hours. I literally came home and went on this podcast.
Yeah, me too.
Wait a second. There's a video of you and me doing a live video, and you're like staring at the ceiling. I'm asking you a question, and you're like, "What?"
Sorry
man?
for all my hate and aggression. I was just really like, I was really disappointed with this episode.
That's what John mentioned this before when we were talking to some of the other podcasters, that we have such a diverse group that we cover all the bases. We really do. We made it just in the nick of time with this episode. It worked out really, really well.
We got an extra hour.
We haven't gotten it yet. I'm still waiting for. I requested it. He said we're going to get it. It just takes time for it to be.
Lord Bags says, does anyone know when the Blu-ray for the entire series will drop? No, but you know what I was thinking about today, and I'm really looking forward to it, is after the 6 episodes, they have the documentary coming out. So like this Sunday after the final episode, they're gonna in the same time slot, I think they're gonna do like the full Game of Thrones documentary, and that'll be cool too. I feel like they're gonna drop the Blu-rays probably within 3 months.
Interesting.
We only have a couple minutes left. Stefan in the chat says Lokisha's in the room, and yeah, we could really use the extra time. I did email Alex or Alexander. I don't know. I think the leader of Get Vocal is who I think it is. Yeah, and Lokisha says they're working on it. So thank you so much for that. I know that they're probably busy as hell. I mean, they got a really awesome tool. But when it is changed, we'll do a longer after show where we can just talk about shit on the fly with the audience, which is another reason why we love doing it live. It's just we're limited on time. I'm not talking about just Get Vocal, but we're limited on personal time as well. We're trying to get as much in for you guys as humanly possible, because this season is exciting.
It is I I can't say it enough. Like you have to watch Game of Thrones with a crowd. Like it changed I watch it by myself, but like now it's like the crowd. It's so much different with the crowd because they're cheering, they're gasping. Like it's.
I want to. We have like 10 seconds, a couple seconds left. So John, save that because we can talk about that because that's a whole thing on its own. Guys, thank you so much. We'll see you next time for another live show. Remember, next show will be tomorrow night.
You guys.
Probably 9 Eastern. All right, see you guys.
Bye.
Later.